Welcome to the Cairo Museum in Egypt. Today I will be your tour guide and show you the exciting wonders that involve King Tut. Many of you may be familiar with who King Tut was, but for those that aren't, he was one of Egypt's kings or pharaohs, as they used to be called. He is known for being the only king whose tomb and mummy was intact for more than 3,000 years. We should be aware of how life was in the past and how beliefs from ancient civilizations continue to astonish us. King Tut's tomb was an incredible discovery that has led us to learn more about Egyptian pharaohs and how they were buried after their death. First, I will share with you the discovery of his tomb, then I will talk about his life, and then I will talk about the importance his tomb has had on history, research, and technology. In 1922, many tombs were discovered in the Valley of the Kings located in Egypt. The tomb, which was located near the entrance of King Ramses VI's tomb, had some steps leading down to what would be the tomb of King Tut. This began a long excavation process where Howard Carter searched the tomb that consisted of 4 rooms. Inside, there were several objects, but the most important object was a stone sarcophagus, which included 3 other coffins inside. The mummy of King Tut was in the last coffin, made out of gold. Many Egyptologists mentioned that Carter did an excellent job in taking pictures of over 5,000 artifacts in the tombs, but he did indeed harm the mummy very severely by trying to pry it out. So, next. King Tut may have been a pharaoh, but the life he lived was horrible. According to Carson Push, King Tut was born to King Akhenaten and Akhenaten's sister in 1341 BCE. This means that his parents were brother and sister. Inbreeding causes a lot of malformations and abnormalities, a reason as to why King Tut was so frail. An examination done by a group of Egyptologists exposed a deformation on King Tut's foot. It was caused by necrosis, which means he had a dead body tissue in his foot. This would have been painful, and the need for a cane would be essential. In fact, he was buried with several. King Tut became king when he was around 9 or 10 years of age. He was in reign for about 10 years before his death. What may have caused his death was considered unknown, but geneticists were able to find traces of malaria in his DNA recently. This means that throughout his life, he suffered from many infections. Next. Like mentioned before, he was perhaps a worthless leader. He didn't do much as a king, and after his death, people forgot about him. Yet he has made a huge impact in the research of geneticists and Egyptologists, potentially impacting history and showing the potential of technology. King Tut's tomb was one of the few that wasn't robbed by grave thieves, and therefore it was packed with items that were never seen before. It gave Egyptologists a new insight to life in an ancient Egyptian civilization and how the belief of the afterlife was very important. The ancient Egyptians believed in the life after death, and so they preserved the bodies of those that passed away. The preservation process of the bodies was very difficult and not a very simple task. Therefore, it was very expensive and not cheap at all. Because of King Tut, we were able to acknowledge the beliefs of one of the world's ancient civilizations. According to Paul Shem, CT scans and DNA testing have proven to be very useful in deciphering the many mysteries that came along with the mummy of King Tut. The tests helped discover how old he was when he passed away and potential causes of death. Back in 1922, when the mummy was discovered, deciphering this would have been almost impossible. But thanks to technology, we know a lot more about the past. First, I talked about the tomb's discovery, then I talked about his life and death, and lastly, I talked about the influence his discovery had on history and the power of technology. It is important to learn about the discovery of King Tut's tomb because since it is the only tomb intact, we were able to gain a lot of insight. Congratulations, you finished the tour at the Cairo Museum of Egypt.